upwards and upwards. Yeah, all right, so starting on the mat, for Ralph and probably for Claire as well, actually. I did a separate wrist video a while ago for wrist conditioning for this kind of stuff. So let's start off. Clasp the hands together, clasp the palms together, forearms together. And it's a rolling action. You're going to push down with one hand on top of the other. You're going to roll the wrists around. There's no right or wrong. Your forearms will kind of twist around each other. Be pushing down on one side and flexing one wrist and extending the other, essentially, and just getting some movement in and see how that feels. So because of the nature of this sort of body weight, mobility, strength kind of training, you're required to be on, obviously, you'll have felt this the other day, required to be on your hands and your wrists for a significant period of time. And we neglect our hands and our wrists just as much as we do our feet and ankles. So they get tight and therefore they get a little bit sore when you ask them to do too much. So reverse your circle if your brain will allow that. If your brain doesn't explode at that point, mine usually does. And you want to try and stay away when you're doing this kind of movement, try and stay away from any kind of painful ranges of movement. I'm just clicky these days. When I first started this stuff, I used to get horrendous pain in my wrists and my forearms, mainly because I was doing hours and hours of it a day, but it's eased off now. All right, so there are your wrist rolls. Taking it into a wrist stretch then, you'll see how I'm sat. You could be sat on your heels or you can bring your weight forward, doesn't really matter. You could be in all fours or you can be sat. But you're going to bring your fingertips pointing forward to start with, just like if you were in all fours. You're going to shift your weight over the hands. So you want to try and keep your fingers as spread as possible as you take your weight forward and back. No clawing of your fingertips into the ground. So you're trying to get the fingers to stretch as well. So rocking forwards and back as big as you want to make it, really. And then turn the hands out to the side, so a bit like a seal. So it's easier the wider the hands are. So you can bring your hands in as close as you like, as long as, again, you could keep your fingers wide and your fingers flat to the floor. And then you're rocking from side to side, yeah? So we're just mobilizing the wrists in a different direction. If you're super bendy, you can go all the way past the wrist as well, or across the hands, but I suspect most of us are going to be here. And then turning the fingertips to point towards the knees. This time, the stretch is going to be when you rock backwards. So nice and gentle with this. And they'll get as far around as they get. You know, it is what it is. Try and keep your shoulders away from your ears as you do this. Again, trying to, in this position, my problem finger is my thumb. It wants to claw in and bend. So I'm actively trying to straighten my thumb out. It's amazing how much tension you get in your hands and wrists. Planning on doing a shoulder workshop in the next couple of weeks at some point when I get some time, and we'll be doing some of this stuff. So much like your feet and the mobility of your feet affect how your hips work, same with your hands. And then release. Now with this next one, super gentle, because you're going to take the backs of your hands to the floor. Ralph was already doing it. Super gentle as you lay the backs of the hands down. You want to make sure that you're not kind of coming to this bulldog position with the elbows out to the side. You want to keep your elbows straight. So you need to kind of find, and with this one, it's easier the closer the hands are to your body. So I'm going to sweep my hands out until I find a point where I can kind of get my hands there. My elbows are relatively straight. And I'm very gently making circles with my body weight. So circling around and then reversing the circle, dead gentle. Same thing as before, turn them out to the side. It's easier the wider you go. You want to sweep them in until you find that stretch. And then again, very gentle side to side or circular movements, whichever. And then pause in the middle and then try and make a fist. So I'm curling my fingers in. That's the point everybody goes, why can I not make a fist in this position, and release? So make a fist-ish and then release. Make a fist ish, and then release, make a fist, and release one last time, and release, and then bring your like two fists, make two fists, and bring your knuckles together. I'm going to put all that lot on the floor. So I've got my forearms, elbows, and the backs of my hands on the floor, and I'm trying to keep my knuckles together, and I'm going to straighten my elbows as much as I can without letting the backs of my hands come off the floor. So you'll feel this massive stretch down the back of the hand. Place the elbows back down, reset, keep the fists together, straighten the elbows as much as you can without losing that fist position. And again, lower it down. Heel the elbows up off the floor. Let's go one last time. Heel and then release. And you can just shake. In fact, if you make, I always go to the rocking out symbol. It's not, it's finger and thumb. Shake. So shaking up and down, and then shaking forwards and back as well. So whatever you can do with your hands and wrists throughout the day, it doesn't need to be like a regular thing. You can do it on the desk as well when you're kind of in between computer work, because it's usually that creates the problems in the first place. Right, shit's getting serious, jacket coming off. So we're going to start off, I'm going to come to standing for the hip stuff. So starting off in standing, feet a little bit wider than shoulder distance. You can play with foot position, but otherwise, arms out in front. You're coming down into what I call a goblin squat. So as you come down, the heels are going to lift. So you want to keep your balance, sink down, heels are lifted, and just holding at the bottom. Take your left hand down to the mat, in between your hands or just in front, and then twist and open, taking the right arm up towards the ceiling. Same as I said the other day, you want to think about rotating from the chest and the rib cage, not just kind of keeping that all there and flinging the arm about. So see how far you can rotate through the ribs. Hand comes back down, switch sides. I'm pressing the elbow into the opposite thigh to help give me that little bit of torque to twist me around that little bit further. And hand comes back down. I'm going to walk out into a plank, yeah? So walk out to a full extended arm plank. You can adjust the feet so that your feet are about hip distance apart. Just holding there, just briefly. And then we're going to step forward, much like we did the other day. Step your right foot outside your right hand. So give it a big fling, step it forward. If at any point you want to put your back knee down, that's fine. Otherwise, keep the knee lifted. Same again, rotate up towards the ceiling. So if it's your right leg that's forward, it's your right arm that's going up. Twisting to the right. And then, same as the other day, trying to get your right forearm down to the mat inside your right foot. And release. It got where it got to. Step back to plank with the right foot and step forward with the left. Hold it a moment there. Then take the left arm to the ceiling. Same again, rotating through the ribs and the chest. And then taking the left forearm as best we can down to the mat inside the left foot. And release, step back to plank with as much control as possible, bending the elbows towards the ribs, lower yourself down to the mat. So it's just a push-up or reverse push-up or an eccentric push-up, whichever you want to call it. Set the legs about hip distance apart, arms reaching overhead, thumbs up. So take this into a 4-point lift. When you lift the arms and legs up, think about length rather than lift. So it's not height that's the issue here. Reach the arms away, reach the legs away, and allow everything to lift up. So this is a really active position. It's not a floppy lift. I'm going to make sure the legs are really reaching as long as possible and the arms are lengthening away. Hold 3, 2, 1, and lower back down. Bend your elbows so that your hands come just underneath your shoulders, fronts of your shoulders. So we were playing with these shin box and shin box lifts the other day. This is just like the add-on to it. So I'm going to come towards you. So I'm going to take my right leg over my left, push the floor away. And as I push up, I'm going to bend the legs into that shin box position. So my front leg is the one that creates the horizontal. So in this case, it's my left leg. Left hand stays down, hips lift, right arm reaches. So again, we're playing with those angles. You can angle down towards the mat, forward, or twist and open up, doesn't matter. Do all three. Sink it back down. When you roll back down to the mat, so both hands come down, the legs come back down to flat, you're back on your belly, and we switch to the other side. So for me, left over right, push the floor away, fold the legs to a shin box. Front hand, in this case, my right hand, helps me lift the hips and I reach the top arm, or left arm in this case. Twisting either to the ceiling, forward or down, or all three. Searching for lines of tension. Release the hips back down and come back down to the mat. So arms come down, legs come back down straight. Tuck the toes under, push yourself back, all the way back to that goblin squat. So I'm down at the bottom of my squat again, heels lifted. Same as before, left hand into the middle, right arm up to the sky, twist to open. Right hand comes down, left arm to the sky. And the arm comes down again, walking out to plank. Readjust the feet if you need to, so they're a little bit closer together. Hold the plank just briefly and same thing. Step forward with the right foot to the outside of the right hand. This time, I'm going to come up onto the outside edge of my foot and pry the knee out to the side. So I'm flattening the foot and then outside edge with the attempt, if you like, to get the knee to go further and further out towards you each time. This is too much, or you want to give your wrists a break, you can be on your fists in this position as well. It's one of those times you get away with fists. And then same thing, we're going to take that leg back to plank and step forward with the left. Hold it there and then take the leg out to the side, just prying open the hip. And release. Take that leg back. You're going to come down onto all fours. I'm going to turn to face you so you can kind of see what my legs are doing. We're coming into some frog mobilizations for the hips. So you want to go wide with the knees, as wide as you can with the knees, within reason. And then that little bit wider with the feet if you can, or at least the heels being in line with the knees. Yeah, so if you can get that little bit wider, it's only a little, don't go mental with it. But see what you've got. Hands under shoulders, tail is lifted, so I'm not curling in my spine under. I want to keep the tail lifted, pushing the floor away nice and proud through the chest, and you're just rocking forwards and back. So you can use this as a bit of a wrist mobilization as well. You could take your shoulders past the wrist line, or if you're wanting to just save your wrists a little bit, I'm quite happy for you to be on your fists again. Your choice. You know, I've been teaching this for a couple of hours this morning. I'm using fists quite a lot just to take the pressure off the wrists. Oh, so rocking forwards and back, nice and simple to start with. Yeah, and then where your hands are, come down onto your elbows. Same thing, just rocking forwards and back to start with. It's just a sort of different angle for the hip. You can add into this, if you think about taking, when you come forward, take your nose down in front of your hands and then push the forearms into the floor to take you back. So just a little bit of effort into the shoulders and the upper back. It's a little bit of a workout, but make sure you don't skip the backwards portion or the pushing back of this movement. So that's where the hip mobilization is. Let's go one more like that. And then this time, as you come forward, skip taking the nose to the floor, come forward. In this case, my right leg's going to pivot. So I'm going to pick up my foot, pivoting my knee down towards the floor. So the knee's on the floor, the foot's lifted. Foot goes down, I go back. Body comes forward, foot lifts, So I'm internally rotating the thigh bone. As I go back, the foot comes down. So keep going with those. Chest and nose stay square to the floor at this moment in time. Just trying to get as much internal rotation at the hip as we can. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. So right leg lifts and lowers, then left leg lifts and lowers. And then pause there. Now you're going to need to take your arms a little bit further away to give yourself some space. Same thing, but this time, as you come forward and the right leg is going to lift, I want to try and think about taking the outside of my ankle down to the floor in front of me. So I'm going to get there, right? But as it comes over, it's going to drive my right hip down into the floor, which in turn drives me away from that hip. So I'm looking over my left shoulder. So right foot up, looking over the left shoulder. You push back, the leg comes down. So same on the left. As I come forward, the left leg is going to lift. I'm going to keep going, which drives my left hip down into the floor, and my gaze turns over my right shoulder. So just adding on that little bit extra. Push back, right foot comes up and over, drives the hip down, looking over the left. Looking to the left. Push back, left leg up and over, looking over to your right. And pushing back. Walk your hands back and then narrow your legs a little bit so they don't need to be quite as wide. Then we're going to take your hands, so fingertips pointed out to the side. We're going to go wide out in front of you. You can choose how wide. You'll see what I mean once you start moving. So from here, I'm going to bend my left elbow. So I'm shifting to my left elbow bends, and I'm taking the front of my right shoulder down to the mat, or the floor in this case. I'm trying to get the front of my right shoulder down to the floor, and then coming back through center. Same again, over to the right this time. I'm driving the left shoulder into the mat. And just keep shifting from side to side. So depending on where you are tight, you can think about trying to get the front of the shoulder down or the top of the shoulder down. So if I really rotate in, trying to get the top of the shoulder down. So you can play with the angles again, essentially, as to where you need the work. Switching side to side. So there's a bit of a chest and a shoulder opener. And let's go one last time, whichever side. And then release. Where are we at? 20 past, good. All right, so we played with Beast and Crab the other day, which are 2 start positions. Got another one. Ape, excuse me. So ape is literally just a deep squat with the heels down, which isn't a happy place for a lot of people, myself included to a certain extent sometimes these days. But you want to be in the deepest squat that you can with the heels down. Not overly concerned about the where your foot position is. That might be quite turned out. Usually mine is. So when you're here, if you are like a lot of other people and being in a deep squat is not the happiest place to be, you can shift like I'm doing. I'm just shifting around in the bottom of that squat, so I'm not just hanging out, which makes it a good hip mobilizer as well while I'm waffling on. So our deep hip position is just a squat, and I'm moving about, lifting the heels side to side. No right or wrong, kind of pushing out with my elbows as well. Just mobilizing into the spine. So we've got a starting option of Beast, Crab, or Ape. And then there's 2 specific movements from Ape, a flexion and extension of the spine, which is quite useful. So we're going to do the flexion version first. So come to center. You're going to bring the backs of the hands together so that your thumbs are pointing to the floor. Yeah, come out of it whenever you need to. Thumbs to floor. Your head is going to go between your arms. Your hands are going to sink to the floor. So this is your flexion of your spine position. When we come to open, you're going to lift both breaks. So both heels come up. The hands turn over and come out to the side, like 2 pizzas on your hands. Reach out to the side, lift the chest. So this is your extension. And then you fold back in, 8 per each. Backs of the hands together, thumbs towards the floor, ears between your arms. And then we collapse forward and breathe a sigh of relief that that's over. Come down onto your knees. The reason why I'm teaching that to you right now is because it's going to come up into a little bit of a flow that I've got planned for later. But other than that, so that's your 8. So let's just have a bit of a recap. A bit of a recap from the other day. I'm trying to think. We did under switches, we did beast, we did crab. Let's have a look. I'm getting rid of the mat. Ow. Knelt on a stone. That's not useful. Right. Let's just have a look at some. Let's have a look at beast and crab again and the under switches between the two. So let's set beast first. So toes are tucked, knees hip distance, hands shoulder distance, knees under belly button line. So it's a narrow position you can kind of see from the side. Tail lifted, chest proud, nice and long through the spine. So we set beast by hovering the knees. Hover the knees an inch off the floor, hold and breathe. And let's do a left leg under switch to crab. So the left leg travels under, the right arm comes over, and you finish up in your crab position. Nicely done, chaps, very good. Okay, so we're going to hold here. Nice and proud through the chest, gaze lifted. So Ralph, you're about here. Narrow it off a little bit. So more of a pointy capital M. Yeah, better. All right, so left leg under switch will take us back to beast. Left leg under switch. Hand comes up, foot comes up, lift the brake. Back to your beast position. Right leg under switch will bring you back to crab. So right leg goes under, left arm comes over. You're back in your crab position, proud chest. We go back the same way. Right leg under switch, so right leg lefts, left hand, brake comes off on the left foot, and you rotate over back to beast. Good, and release the knees, well done. All right, so the other day we were working on front kick, well, front step and then kicking through, front kick through. This is going to be side kick through, so I'm going to use it as part of the mobilization. And I'm just going to get straight into it. I usually break this one down. I think we'll be fine. Charlotte knows this one anyway. So you're going to set in beast or start in beast. It's half an under switch to start. So the knees hover. So if I go left leg side kick through, I start the under switch. And I start by bringing my big toes together here. My right heel is still lifted. Everything's lifted off the mat. And I'm supporting my weight on the left shoulder. To kick out, so the side kick through, the leg extends, turned out, toes pointed. And this hand, back of the hand towards the face so that you can lift the elbow high. So I'm trying to twist and lift at the same time. To come back, heel lifts, so brake comes off. Find the big toes, pivot back through to beast. That's your side kick through. Doing it slow like that is a miserable experience. So we'll speed it up a little bit, all right? So talk you through it again. If I do left leg side kick through, I start the left leg under switch. The heel coming down here is your brake. Your foot is pointing forward. Your toes are together. The leg kicks in the same direction, everything in one direction, and the arm pulls back. So you try to twist. There's a lot of work through the shoulder, a lot of work through everything really. Coming back, big toes, heel lifts, pivot back through to your beast and lower the knees. That's it, Claire. Way. Bent elbows. So if you think about your back of your hand towards your cheek, the reason why it's back, we're not doing it so it's like Madonna in Vogue. We're doing it so that you don't drop the elbow. So back of the hand sweeps past the face. Elbow pulling high. Yeah, that's it. Have a play on each side. Nice, Ralph. So there's talk about angles a lot, directions of travel and stuff. North, east, south, west for this. So 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You can think of it as a compass or a clock, whichever. But if I'm at 12 and 6 right now, and I do a left leg side kick through, I'm kicking to the 3 o'clock position. So I start the rotation. My toes on my right leg are pointing at 3 o'clock. My kick is at 3 o'clock. And my arm pulling back is at 9 o'clock, if that makes any sense. Yeah, big toes come together, heel lifts. You come back over, and I'm back to 12 and 6, or north and south. So it's another one where it's easy to start kicking in all different directions. That's why you'll see me face one way quite a lot, because I've got lines on my floor that help me out there. That's it, Charlotte. Yes, 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 yes. Good. All right, so there's an extra little bit to this. If I set up in the end position, I've got my arm pulling back, my hips will be quite high unless I can find some strength to twist the body. So this shoulder coming forward and this arm pulling back really opens the sling across the front, but it's also a lot of work for the shoulder. It's a real strength builder. It's a bit like crab here. The arm being behind the body and you having to activate is different to even like doing push-ups and things for shoulder strength. So we're trying to build strength in lots of different ranges of movement. So when you're here and you're pulling back, this shoulder wants to come forward as much as it can. And that might not be a lot right now, and that's okay. Yeah, so, okay, so what have we got through so far? Side kick through, which looks pretty good, in which case I'm going to teach you the jumping under switch. So you've got under switch. We've also got jumping under switch, which I quite like. Just adds that extra layer of complexity into it. So come back to your beast position. So set beast. Let's do a left leg under switch to crab. So left leg under switch takes us into crab. So we know that, we've got that, right? So if we want to do a left leg jumping under switch to crab, I'm going to do the same thing. Left leg, right hand, break off. I'm going to come over and I'm going to switch the feet in that beast position and then continue to finish in my crab position. That's it. And you may fall over on your bottom. So I'll do it again. So if I was doing left leg jumping under switch, it's exactly the same. Everything starts the same. I come over into my beast, but instead of putting my left foot down, I'm just going to switch them and then continue with what is now a right leg under switch into your crab position. Do it again. Left leg jumping under switch to crab. Over. Switch. Finishing crab. How are we doing? Your legs all over the place. That's it, Claire. You've cracked it. Well done. Good. Nice. Okay. So if we were to then add a jumping under switch to our side kick throughs, what would that look like? I'm teaching you this in super slow motion. There's the momentum side of it again, which does make it a little bit easier, but it's useful to break it down. So if I was to do, let's say, a left leg side kick through, and I want to do a jumping under switch to right leg side kick through. So in other words, I want this leg off the ground. So I come back through exactly what we've just done. Switch, right leg side kick through. Right leg jumping under switch to left leg side kick through. Left leg jumping under switch to right leg side kick through. Have a play while I catch my breath. Nice, Ralph. Well done. Jump straight to the other side. Yeah, you were right. No, you were right. Coming back through the other way up. That's it. Switch legs. Yes. There it is. Well done. Good. Yeah. Okay. That looks pretty good, actually. So Ralph was doing it anyway. Claire, are you talking to me?
Yeah, I didn't understand. Could you repeat what the sequence is?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go through it again anyway. It's never enough to just do it once or twice. Right, so if I do left leg side kick through, boom, done, yeah? So coming back, if I want to jump, it's the same movement, everything bends in. I'm coming back through to beast, but instead of putting my leg down, which would finish it off, I'm going to switch to the other foot, which means I can then carry on onto the right leg side kick through. Coming back, we switch. Now, Ralph was doing it anyway because you actually want to jump from this position, not go through that whole rigmarole. So it becomes more of a, it's just a little bit quicker. It's exactly the same. It's just that little bit quicker. Ralph, you were pretty much there anyway, which is why I'm adding it in. If you want to keep breaking it down. Claire, that's it. You've cracked it. Kick towards me rather than your leg, the other leg. So kick your right leg towards me, Claire. So the minute you're kicking down here, so instead of 5 o'clock, think 3 o'clock. Stop there, Claire. Stay there. Take your left leg up. If it will, it might not.
No, that knee can't do that.
That's fair enough. So it becomes the angles again. Let me just break this down for you one last time and we'll progress on because it takes a few weeks to get anyway. So as I come over, this foot with the break up, when the break comes down, that foot is still pointing at 3 o'clock. Try to get it out of the way so you can see. So it's pointing in the same direction as I'm kicking. If it turns out, your leg will automatically start to move again in where it kicks. It makes it very hard to get it, where you want it to be. This position of the foot, it's a bit like the kick through that we were doing the other day. That's hard to get to because it requires a lot of strength in the foot and ankle as well. So it comes with time. It's just something to aim for. Yeah. All right. So side kick through, jumping under switches, which is brilliant. I just want to go through one last one before we get into sort of building up a little bit of a flow. Is your under switch to loaded beast. So we know that an under switch will take us from crab to beast. But if we want to go to a loaded beast, we need to play with that. So very briefly, if I'm in crab and I want to go left leg under switch to loaded beast, I'm going to do the same under switch, but instead of landing the hand next to this hand, I'm going to walk it out slightly, sink my hips back, and come into a loaded beast from there. There's no right or wrong way of getting there. You're just trying to get your hips back. It looks kind of awkward, but once you start doing it, it's okay. So left leg under switch to loaded beast. So the left leg's going to come under just as it has been doing. I'm just going to walk the hands out slightly, sink my hips towards my heels. My knees are an inch off the floor, ears between my arms, and there's your loaded beast. That's it, Charlotte. Yeah, perfect. Not wrong with that. The other thing as well is we've all got different space availability. So as we start to move about, which we will do, you'll find yourself kicking the sofa, or in my case, the dining room table, or I finish up with no space and a wall. Just ferret about. So if I finish up kind of too close to the, if I'm doing, let's say I'm doing an under switch, and I know I'm going to kick the thing, it's no problem to kind of just move yourself away from whatever it is that you're going to hit. Yeah, just use your space as best you can. Okay, let's build this up into a little bit of a flow because that's where it's going eventually. So we're going to use the ape as a starting position. I only wrote this morning, so I've not had a chance to play with it yet. I wrote it especially for you guys. So we're going to set ape. We're going to go ape, reach, open, and then we're going to come into some other stuff. Let's start in ape. So find your deep ape, not going to hang around here. So you're going to go ape reach to start. Backs of the hands together, thumbs to the floor, curling the spine. Open, heels lift, arms to the side, carrying 2 pizzas. Lift the chest. Struggling with my balance this morning. There's your ape, open. Go back to ape reach, sink the heels, backs of the hands together, thumbs towards the floor. And then release that, come forward into beast. So all you're going to do is walk the hands forward, drop the knees to your beast position. And then we're going to go right leg side kick through. Done that already. Right leg side kick through. And then right leg under switch, back to beast. And then find your loaded beast from there. Right leg front step. So just the lunge position we did earlier. Fling that leg forward. Lift the right hand off the floor. So pull the elbow back. That's it. Good. From there, going to kick through. So make sure you've got enough space between your hand and your foot. Elbow comes forward. You're going to bring the leg through. Claire, I'll get you in a minute. You missed this the other day. We've done loads of these this week. As you go back to your loaded beast, leg travels all the way back, foot joins it, and you come back to your loaded beast. Claire, I'm going to face front on for you so you can see how wide this is. So from here, as I step forward with the right leg, it wants to go wider and in front of this hand. This hand just picks up out of the way.
Kelly, it's fine. It's my right injured knee. I can't do.
Ah, okay, that's it.
Yeah,
That
I'll be
explains
all right.
it. Good. All right, let's try the other side. So left leg front step. Elbow pulling back and in. Through. So kick your right leg through. Yes. When this travels back, it's going to reach all the way back to that lunge position. Take it all the way back. Hand, foot, shift, and you sink back to your loaded beast. Well done. Have a break. If you need to stretch out your wrists, go back to the hands together, or like Ralph's doing, back to the hands on the floor. Either way, shaking seems to work for me more than anything else, but find something that works just to take the issue off. Okay, right, so that was your right side. We've done part of the floor. That was your right side. We're going to do the left side. You'd be delighted to hear. The look on your faces is just brilliant this morning. So it starts the same. Set ape. Ape reach. Thumbs to the floor. Round in the spine. Open, heels lift. Chest lifts. Arms open. Ape reach. Thumbs to the floor, round the spine. Set beast. Come forward. Organize the feet. Left leg side kick through. Then left leg under switch to loaded beast. Left leg under switch, sink back to your loaded beast. Left leg front step. Nice and wide, elbow pulling back. Elbow comes forward to allow you to kick the leg through. Good. That leg's going to travel all the way back. That long lunge position, fling it back there. Yes, well done, good. Hand comes down, foot goes back, and you're back to your loaded beast. Nicely done, chaps. Breathe a sigh of relief. I'll play with the movement, Claire, no problem. Right, so we've got some more side kick throughs here now. So if I'm in loaded beast and I want to do a side kick through, I need to get back to beast. So it's the same sort of thing, need to find a way to get there. So if I want to do from loaded beast into a right leg side kick through, my right foot needs to be off the ground in order to kick it out. Yeah. So it's a slide to movement. So it's this. I come forward like I want to come to beast, but I'm too long. So I'm going to hop my left leg forward, which leaves my right foot off the floor, which leaves it free to do the right leg side kick through. Yes, it does. So I'll do it again with you. So I'm going loaded beast, slide to right leg side kick through. So I come forward, knees low, hop my left foot forward, right foot off the ground, so that I can side kick through that right leg. That's it, Ralph, cracked it. It's getting your head around the lefts and rights. Well done, Charlotte. Good. Good, good, good. And rest when you're ready. We're all dead keen this morning, doing loads. Let's work from the top. We'll do one side and then we'll do the other. Comes with time. All right, so these should be getting a little bit easier. Now you've been here loads. So set ape. Ape reach, backs of the hands together, thumbs to the floor. Open, heels lift, palms out and up. Ape reach, sink back down. Set beast. Right leg side kick through. Right leg under switch to loaded beast. So you're just going back through beast and then just organizing yourself into that loaded position. Right leg front step, big, 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 big step. Elbow pulling back. Elbow comes forward so you can kick through. Return to loaded beast. All the way back. Slide to right leg side kick through. So you start to come forward, you hop the left leg, you right leg side kick through. And then lower the hips. Well done. I'm going to go through that on the opposite side and we'll call it a draw there. And then next time we'll add on, there's about another 10 moves. And that's not even a full floor. That's like a baby warm-up portion. So if you're sweating and panting, that's how it should be. All right, so we'll do the other side to that point. If I can remember to get my left and right. Back to ape. Charlotte's already there. Super keen, right. So set ape. Ape reach, thumbs to the floor, rounding the spine. Open, pizzas, chest lifts. Reach, thumbs to the floor, round the spine. Come forward, set beast. So it's a left leg side kick through. Left leg side kick through. Right leg, left leg under switch to loaded beast. Apologies. Set your loaded beast. Left leg front step. Big, 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 big step. Huge. Elbow pulling back. Elbow comes in front to kick. Return to loaded beast. All the way back. Now you're going to slide to a left leg side kick through. So you start to come forward. You hop the right foot, left foot off the ground into a left leg side kick through and lower the hips. Well done. Amazing. I'm conscious of your time. It took longer than I expected to get through that. Come forward. Oh, yeah. Put myself onto my blocks. I'm going to switch the recording off so you can talk to me without having to appear